Hello you, it's me. Welcome to my channel. Please enjoy the noises of my heavy breathing and the dishwasher in the background. You're very welcome. So, while this is the first video here, I did actually make a Booktube YouTube channel a while back. Got self-conscious, deleted it. You know how it is. It's no big loss, there's like 2 videos on there, so whatever. I'm in a much better place mentally now. I've had a good few years to start something like this that I can continue and feel like I can actually put the effort in. So this is Booktube Channel 2, Electric Boogaloo, Quarantine Edition, and you can tell it's Quarantine Edition because I'm starting to look like the guy from Ancient Aliens. I'm going to crack on and start this channel with Booktube Newbie tag. Don't worry, I'm not very organised, and this is going to be 99% me winging it. I've got a couple of other things I'm going to tack on the end, maybe. We'll see how it goes. I'm also going to pause a lot. We'll edit the bits out where I do, so buckle up for a horrible, disjointed ride. Okay, number 1. Why did you start this YouTube channel? Needed a project, needed a hobby. Spend all my spare time at the moment interneting and reading. Wanted to pour my effort into doing something that I'm actually going to enjoy while I'm stuck in the house because of infectious disease. Outside of work, I don't have many friends that are big readers aside from my partner. So I'd love to be part of a community where I can interact with people who like things that I like and generally talk about cool things with cool folk. Number 2 / number 10, because I feel like a lot of these questions are going to be a bit repetitive, so I might try and answer a couple at the same time if they're of a similar sort of theme. Fun and unique things I can bring to Booktube. So it seems like a lot of the channels on here review an awful lot of YA. I do read a bit of YA, but I feel like hopefully what I read, a percentage of it is going to be different. I read a lot of old stuff, sort of 60s to 80s sci-fi that people might not have heard of, might be aware of. I read a lot of stuff that's in some way got an element of fantasy, escapism to it. I read real-lifey stuff as well, but I don't necessarily enjoy it as much as the fantastical things I read. Hopefully it's going to be sharing exposure, mostly, of books that are a bit underground, maybe, or just old. And I don't hold back if something sucks. So if I really don't enjoy it, I'm going to let you know, and I'm not going to be gentle. Number 3. What are you excited about? Building a friend base of people that love reading as much as I do. Talking to people, interacting, collaborating with people that enjoy the things that I enjoy. The learning curve. This is going to be a learning curve for me. Not a super confident public speaker or video maker. Also, I don't know how to edit videos at all, so I'm sort of going to have to teach myself that as I go. I've got some musical family members who have agreed to help me out with intros and outros to later videos or even background music. So I'm excited for that, I guess, just for a bit of the channel being a sort of family project with my siblings. I also feel like reading with a view to speaking about it to other people is going to make me concentrate on the book more, pick out things that I'd like to talk about more, notice things I might not necessarily have noticed otherwise. I'll have to concentrate more, obviously, but I think it's going to be worth it. Question 4. Why do you love reading? It's an escape, more than anything else. I like reading people's recommendations on favourite books. I feel like if you read people's favourite books, there's a lot you can learn about people, and it gives you an insight into them in a way that they may not have been able to put into words themselves otherwise, I guess. If you're reading people's favourite books, and listen, you don't have to like them, but as long as you're taking something away from them and you understand why that person likes them, then I feel that's a really good thing you can come away with. Question 5/8, which is books and series that got you into reading, / when did you start reading? My parents taught me to read young. I've been reading my whole life, pretty much. I know a lot of booktubers are from the US, that I've seen anyway. I don't know if you have Book Trail over there. I was always doing Book Trail as a kid. It's where you go to a local library over the summer between school terms, and you have people there that ask you to write reviews of your favourite books, or they ask you test questions about your favourite books, and you can earn like badges. You can get tokens to rent VCRs, which back in the day was like... To be honest, the biggest thing that probably got me into reading was the collection of books my dad had in the house while I was growing up. He was always a big collector of sci-fi, horror from the 60s through to the late 90s, when he had kids and he got a bit busy, couldn't really read as much. But I really think having those around and having access to them as a kid, really my dad's tastes rubbed off on me a lot. And I really do have the same sort of taste as him in books even now. I sort of rescued some, / inherited, / looted some from the loft that have been in boxes. So they're now on my shelves, carefully separated so that you can have them back if you want one day. The series that got me into reading was probably a small 3-book series within a larger series, by Alan Dean Foster, which was the Deluge Driver series, which is set within the Hugh Manx Commonwealth series of books. And the first one's Ice Rigger. Oh, it's cool. It's about these people that crash land on a planet that's covered in ice, and it's sort of their adventures with the aliens that live on that planet. I've heard it described as a good concept with a really slush-poor writing style, but as a kid, when I read this when I was sort of 12, 13 years old, I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever read. I also found a book at sort of the same age in my local town centre that had been left on the bench, which was the Harry Harrison Death World omnibus. It had a note in the front cover that said, I love this book, I'd like to pass it on to somebody else so you can enjoy it, and I ask that when you finish it, you pass it on again. I didn't, because I'm a horrible person. I still have it, sort of 15 years later. It's good though, really good for sort of that age, young teen sci-fi. Yeah, fantastic book. I might leave it on a bench again one day, who knows? Yeah, there's no time limit to these things, is there? I also got to give a shout out to this beaten, battered, loved to death book, Midworld, by the same guy, Alan Dean Foster, which was actually given to me by my aunt, who also loves sci-fi, and has also been a big influence on the sort of books that I read, recommending books to me and giving me books as presents over the years. But this one she actually gave me when I was really young, because it has so many grammar mistakes in it. And her promise was that I get 50p for every grammar mistake I found. So I've spent probably the best part of a year combing through this book with a needle to find every little tiny thing I could. But yeah, that really inspired me to actually concentrate on what I was reading. which is something that I really appreciate now. I think it changed the way I read a bit. 6. Questions to ask your favourite YouTubers. I feel like most people are going to ask about books that changed your life, books you couldn't live without. What one book would you save from a fire? So I'm going to go the opposite direction and ask what the absolute worst book you ever read was. I know some books are so bad they can be good in a case of like cheesiness. But I mean, you don't live forever, can't read every book, so you might as well know where the landmines are under the sand and what you shouldn't read because it's just really, really not worth it. I mean, I judge for myself, but it's always good to know the books people absolutely hated. And I'll probably do a video on that in the future, my top 5 worst ever books, which I've still kept as the equivalent of like hunting trophies. Like, I finished this, I'm proud of myself, it's staying on my shelf forever. Question 7. What's going to be the hardest challenge to overcome? It's going to be consistency. For me, I'm not an organised person. So just keeping up with the channel, regardless of whether these videos are rubbish or not, the challenge of keep uploading them at a semi-regular pace and not falling behind with it or giving up. So, you know, I've tried this before, second time lucky, that's what they say, right? Question 9. Where do you read? Anywhere. I read in the park. I read at work on my break. I love reading on public transport. I walk to work now, so I don't really have the opportunity for that anymore. I read at home, read on the loo. If a book's a slog or it's slow but it has really short chapters, then it's going to be a toilet book, let's be honest. And if I'm reviewing books, I'm going to let you know if they were toilet books, if I read them while taking a poop. So, enjoy that to come. There's no question 10, because we already did that. It was mixed in with another one. A few extra bits to tack on the end. I've got my goal for 2020 in terms of reading is to get through 100 books. It's April the 24th today. I'm already on 26. My one book that I definitely want to read this year, in terms of I've just been putting it off for ages because I'm sort of scared of it. And I can't be scared anymore. Gotta, just suck it up. Is Jerusalem by Alan Moore, which has been described as sort of the modern day Ulysses, and just having it on my shelf is really daunting. I look at it and I'm just like, not today. Since I've already done 26 this year, I'll probably do, the next video I'll probably do is just going to be a really quick rundown of the 26 that I've already read. Some are my choices, some are recommendations, just sort of a few lines on each, what I thought of them. If it's really good, obviously I'll say a bit more. But I'm not going to take up loads of time. I thought it was going to be like an hour-long video, which nobody is going to want to sit through, let's be honest, from a channel that's got like 2 videos on it. But yeah, I'll put some video up about what I've read already. That's pretty much it for my first video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Join me on this magical journey and we'll talk about books together. If you're in isolation, I hope you're doing alright. We'll get through this. Just read. Keep reading. For more of this, if you liked it, there's better stuff to come. This is just sort of an introduction video. But yeah, stay safe. I'll see you soon. I know it's not Halloween, but you just gotta believe.